Get ready to crank up the volume because you're about to enter the realm of rebels and rock stars. Unleashing the thunder from down under the stage. We're diving deep with a deviance of melody, rhythm, and chaos. Now push up your sleeves and get ready to dive into the pit. It's time for Sitting with the Slimy Bastards, Music Edition.
Alrighty, welcome to the Slimy Bastard Podcast Show. I've been looking forward to this episode for a couple of weeks now. I got Steve Unger of Metal Church and Autograph and Alive 85. And you know, Steve, I actually heard about you from Tommy Boland.
Yeah.
You've done some recording stuff with him with NYC.
Yep.
And he's been a longtime friend of mine for quite some time. And he was telling about, I was actually on the phone with him, and I was telling him about how I took a trip down to Memphis with my family to Graceland and that for my daughter Presley. Her name is actually Presley after Elvis.
Right on.
Anyway, it was her 8th birthday. She was born on Valentine's Day. So we took her down there for the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Weekend over the Valentine's weekend. And I was telling Tommy about this, and then he brought me about you. I was like, I got to get this guy on my podcast show. So here we are. I've been pumped for this. So how you been?
I've been busy, man. You know, hanging in there, just trying to stay alive like everybody else.
Yeah. And you're all the way out in Washington there. And
yeah, Seattle area, yeah.
Okay.
Where it rains all the time.
Yeah. Has it been pretty bad, or has it been pretty mild?
It's been gray and gloomy like always, but you know what? Summer's coming. So yeah, as I said many times, the Seattle, Washington area in the summertime is absolutely beautiful. I love living here in the summer, but the other 9-10 months out of the year, you know, can't take it.
Sure. So this Alive 85 that you got going on, Tommy's told me a little bit behind the scenes and all that of behind what you got going on. I checked out some of the videos and that, and I'm going to be honest with you. You could actually go down and compete with some of these guys during Elvis week in August.
Yeah.
You sound good, man. It sounds really good.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
So tell me about how this all came together with the Live 85, and I'm going to kind of work backwards so you kind of know. I'm just going to go kind of with the Elvis deal and then get into the metal stuff.
Hey, man, whatever you want to do. So, I mean, I've been a long time Elvis fan. I mean, that's what I grew up in the house. You know, my parents listened to Elvis, and that's, you know, how I got into music. So I would, you know, I'd sit in the rocking chair with the headphones on, rocking out the Elvis records and shit like that. And I just, at a young age, I fell in love with everything about Elvis, man. I mean, his voice, his looks, his charisma, his outfits. I mean, that was like a fucking superhero, you know? Right. And it just blew me away. And it happened to be my very first concert ever. I saw Elvis when I was 6 years old. My parents brought me to see him, and it was my first concert. So at 6 years old, it made a huge impact. Whoa. Hang on one second. I'm going to turn on my alarm that says that I'm doing this. There we go. Oh, come on now. There we go. Oh, my God.
There you got sideways. There.
Sorry about that. I got the alarm set everywhere to remind me to be online right now.
You're good.
All right. So anyway, yeah, it was I was 6 years old. It was 1973. And God, I guess I was 5 years old, 69, 70, 71, 72. Yeah, I was 5 years old. And they brought me to see Elvis. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And it just made like a huge impact on me. And I mean, I knew after seeing that show that music was what I wanted to do in my life. And so that's kind of what I did. And I learned how to sing by listening to Elvis. So I've always had kind of that Elvis type voice.
Right.
So now that, you know, my balls have dropped and I've matured a little bit, I can get that low
Yeah.
Elvis thing going on,
Right.
and it just. I mean, I'm kind of blown away that everybody's like, "Dude, you sound just like Elvis." I'm like, "Well, that's a tall feat because Elvis was badass."
Yeah.
But I listened back to the videos and I'm like, "Yeah, it's not too bad." But anyway, I grew up and I went through all the rock phase and everything. I mean, I'm still in the
Right.
rock phase, obviously, because I play for Metal
Right.
Church and Autograph.
Right.
But I've always had the secret love, I guess, but not so secret anymore because everybody knows what I do now.
Yeah.
For Elvis and that kind of music. Uh, and so I wanted to put together this thing, that was a tribute to Elvis, but I didn't want it to be like every other tribute artist. I don't consider myself a impersonator by any stretch because my show starts the day Elvis dies, and
Right.
it goes on from there. That's what Alive 85 means.
Yeah.
Uh, so my show starts August 16th, 1977, where everybody else's Elvis show is the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and then he dies, and then it's
Right.
over. That's what they do, and they're you know paying honor to the 50s, 60s, and 70s Elvis as everybody knows it. My idea is a hypothetical: what if he lived and he lived on in the 80s? He would keep doing what he always did, and that was take other people's music, do his own little thing to it,
Yeah.
and make it his own and make it better in most cases, and keep performing. But
Right.
if he would have lived in the 80s, which is not too far off in 1977, we're only talking
Sure.
another couple, three,
3
4, 5
years.
years,
Yeah.
and he would have been doing exactly probably what I think. Well, I think anyway, what he would have been doing, and that is, now he's in competition with bands like, Toto and Kiss and Bon Jovi and Motley
Sure.
Crue. He's, what would he do? I guess he would take some of their songs and turn them into his songs, and
Into the
that's
style that he did. Yeah.
into the style that Elvis did. Yeah, and so that's what we do. I mean, obviously, we play Elvis songs as well because it is,
Yeah.
after all, an Elvis show. But
Right.
of course, we rock them up a little bit. I got a rock band behind me instead of a choir and a couple of jazz
Right.
guys. I got a full on rock band behind me,
Right.
and got a bunch of young guys, so it portrays the rock image. Uh, and then we take some of the big giant hits from the 80s and we just change the keys so I can sing them in the style of Elvis, and we just mix them in throughout the set, and the show is called The King Alive in 85.
Yeah. It's a really cool concept, really. Like I never thought of any of that. You know what I mean? Like like you, I was born in 75. I became an Elvis fan when I was very, very young. I mean, I'd go to school dressed up in, like Elvis stuff for Halloween and everything. And
Turning
but
up the collar
I've
and shit.
never, yeah, yeah, and no, but I've never ever thought of the concept of what songs he would have sang today. You know what I mean? I've
Yeah,
never
well,
thought of that, and it's a really cool concept, really.
yeah, I mean, I've laid in bed awake at night many, many nights, wondering what I could do that was an Elvis thing that would be different, and
Yeah,
that's what I came up with. I mean, and nobody's done it.
yeah,
Nobody's done. If Elvis didn't die, what would he be like?
yeah.
So
So have you? I mean, you've probably been down to Graceland a couple times, right?
yeah, a couple times.
Um, when were you? I guess when's the last time you were there?
Actually, Metal Church was on tour here about 6, 7 months ago, and we rolled through Memphis, and we had a couple of days off. We
Yeah,
parked the tour bus in a campground right
yeah,
across the street from Memphis, right
yeah,
across the street from Elvis's house. So we
yeah.
we all got to go to all the shops and stand
Sure.
in front of the house and all that kind of stuff and get the
Yeah,
pictures, and yeah. And my first
it's a
my first time
surreal
going to
place, really.
Graceland. What's that?
I said it's really surreal, honestly,
It
for
it
me.
is. Yeah, my first time going was actually right in the middle of the pandemic, and
Uh-huh.
we were Alive 85. My Elvis show was playing Sturgis, and I was in Free. My dog says hi. I was in North Carolina, and my band was in Seattle, and we were each driving to meet in North or South Dakota to play
Uh-huh.
Sturgis. And along the way, I stopped at Graceland, and we did the VIP tour and everything like that. So I mean, we got to do some stuff that a lot of people don't get to do when they go to Graceland. And, I mean, I actually got to hold Elvis's badge. I was like, what?
And they take the picture and all that with you and all
Oh,
that.
yeah,
with
yeah,
it and
yeah,
all that. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that was your first time that you were there, huh?
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah. And then, when
it
you,
took you quite a while for you to even get there, then, huh?
yeah,
Through all
it
the years
did.
that you've been touring and everything.
Yeah, yeah, it did. We Metal Church was on tour one time, and we were going. I mean, this was Jesus, probably 18, 20 years ago. And
Right.
we were driving through Memphis, and I was driving the bus, and I was like, we're not driving, we don't have to go in and do the whole tour or anything, but we're not driving through Memphis and not stopping to go see Elvis's house. All right. And all the guys in the band are like, oh my God, we gotta go. And of course, I was like, hey, I'm driving the fucking bus right now.
Yeah. So you
So it's
drove
going
right
where I
then.
take it. And I drove us right there, pulled in the front where the buses go, and I got out, took pictures in front of the gates and everything. And
Sure.
so, yeah, I've actually been there 3 times. One time went in and did the whole fucking VIP tour, and the other 2 times just,
So this, like you, I've been there 3 times myself. The first time my mom took me when I graduated high school, which was in '94, and
yeah,
and then I went back in 2000. I think it was right about '99, 2000, and then again this year. And but just so much has changed as far as the way they've done everything and the layouts and the museums and everything. It's just that part was really different for me. But I guess the cool thing for me is just um that whole 3 days of live shows. And I've been to Elvis impersonators and that, being a huge fan. And you see all these different aspects of like, oh, this guy, got to give my hats off to you. At least you're up there. You know what I mean? But
right.
you get down there for this, and it's a whole different fucking ball game. Like you. There's a couple guys I could have swore to God it was fucking him. I mean, that's how spot on it was. And it
Oh
was
yeah, there's some like Dean Z. I mean, that
yeah,
guy's.
yeah. And he was one of them that was there. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he's like scary. Looks like him, moves like
yeah.
him, sounds like him. The whole 9 yards.
The other one was that Cody Ray Slaughter, and I got to know him a little bit through the weekend, and he actually took me and my family down to Sun Studios. We were sitting in a bar having a drink. It was Super Bowl Sunday, and he
Yeah.
comes in. We were sitting there, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever been to Sun Studios?" And I said, "No, it's never worked out for us to go." Da, da, da. He goes, "Do you want to come watch me record a song there right now?" And I'm like, "Fucking kidding me?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's closed. We'll give you a private tour." And he goes, "Then you can see me record it. I'm going to be recording a song with Elvis Enterprises." Da, da, da.
Wow.
So I was like, "Well, hell yeah." My wife and daughter were across the street. I called her up. I said, "Where the hell you at?" And she goes, "Shopping across the street." And I said, "Well, get your ass over here because this is what we're doing." And yeah, we got to ride down there with them. We caravan down there. And it was, like I said, it was Sunday night, Super Bowl Sunday night. And it was in, I can't describe it because seeing actually recording, I have a TikTok of it up, but it was really cool. So, but watching you and sing Suspicious Minds and all that, I mean, you're almost spot on, man.
Thanks, man.
I truly think you should enter that one of them contests because I think you could pull it off.
Well, I did a contest up here in Seattle. It was held up at the Everett event or Everett, what is it? Everett Historic Theater, and it was put on by a group called the Kentucky Rain Challenge.
Uh-huh.
And there was I think there was like 20 contestants that all did the Elvis thing, and I took first place in that.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so I hold the Washington title right now. It's not like I'm down in Memphis doing it because that's like the big leagues there. But up here in Washington, I'm kind of the Elvis guy.
So when you go out and you're getting ready for the show and all that, I mean, you got the full jumpsuits, you got everything that I
Yeah,
mean, just like he would have worn in that. Do you buy it because Graceland does sell his jumpsuits? Did you get any
yeah.
of
The
them from
ones the
there, or
ones
did
that
you?
are the ones that are on display there at Graceland, it's the same company that builds mine. They're
Okay.
called BK Enterprises, and
Uh-huh.
BK Enterprises is owned by the guy that made Elvis's suits in the '70s.
Oh,
And
really?
so he now has a company that, for impersonators and, anybody that's doing Elvis stuff. It's as real as you're going to get to the real deal,
Sure. Sure.
not having Elvis's actual outfits.
Right.
Uh, and they custom make them to your size and everything. It ain't cheap, man. They're, three to
Yeah, they're
five grand
about
a
3 to 4,
piece.
and some of them, like even down there in Graceland, I've seen down there that they're like 2 to 3 grand. I was like, holy
Yeah, that
hell!
they started about 3 grand, man.
Yeah.
Uh, and they go up to 6 or 7, and depending on which suit you want, how many sequins and what
Yeah,
kind of stuff you got on there.
that black suit you got too. I mean, that's sharp too. That's a cool
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
suit that you have there.
yeah.
So you're
Yeah, I
doing some
got
shows down in
I
Florida
have
and that with the Live 85 too, right?
yeah, I have 5 different outfits, 5 different jumpsuits. And I'm working on more because every time I only have black and white outfits, and a lot of times people they see me in a white outfit and it might be a different white outfit, but they don't really know. It's just he wears a
Right.
white outfit and he wears a black outfit. So now I'm going to
Yeah.
start getting some other colors. I'm going to go with the blue owl suit
Yeah.
one, and maybe even the red burning love suit. That way
Yeah.
it's definitely a different suit.
Right.
Because all the videos and stuff that are out there are either of me in a white or a black suit. So even though I have different white and black suits, unless you pay close attention to detail,
Right.
which a lot of people don't, they're just like, oh, he's in a black suit, or oh, he's in a white suit.
Yeah.
But they
Only
are
the
different
diehard
designs.
fans would really know that. No, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, they do. They know, oh, that's the butterfly suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like I thought
Yeah.
I was a huge Elvis fan until I went down to this deal down in this Ultimate Elvis weekend. I mean, there's
Oh, there's
ladies
some
behind me
people.
that go to Elvis weekend, they go to this deal and they know what rings he wore at this time
Oh,
frame and
I
this. I'm
know.
like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's another thing that alleviates some of the stress on me trying to be an impersonator is that I'm not trying to be an impersonator. I,
Right.
I am making this fictional
Right. It's a
idea that he
fiction.
didn't die. I mean, my show starts with a video where the doctors are in the hospital. We recreated a emergency
Yeah.
room scene where they're like hitting him with the shockers, and anyway, they save him. And then the video goes into, the scene where, it's me in a full jumpsuit, but you don't really see me. You just see the jumpsuit, like legs running on a treadmill, and they see the arm going like this, lifting weights.
Yeah.
So you see that, Elvis is working out. They get it, and I got my sleeves reach up into the freezer and grab the ice cream and throw it away. Grab the peanut butter and bananas and the bacon. And I throw it away. I got a huge tray of pills and I go throw all the pills
Yeah.
away and shit like that. And then show starts and I come running out, and it's like,
Sure.
oh, there's Elvis. He lost some weight, drew some hair.
And he has a goatee.
Yeah, and he has a goatee. That's the other thing. People are like, yeah, you could, when I won that Washington State Elvis battle, there was a guy that does do the stuff down at Graceland, and he's like, bro, you could go down there and you could probably you'd be in the top 3, man. I'm telling you, you
Yeah.
could really pull this
I
off.
think
But
honestly you
you
should
got
try it.
yeah. He goes, but down there, your idea is not going to fly. They want the traditional Elvis thing. So you'd have to
Sure.
shave your thing. You'd have to put your hair up in a deal and wear like an Elvis wig and shit like that. And I don't know that I'm so much into doing that. I mean, I love Elvis and everything, and I love doing the Live 85 show. I just don't, I feel like I would be kind of selling myself short, I guess, to actually take on the role of Elvis. And I
Right.
mean, you're never going to fill those shoes. I mean,
Right. For
no, I
sure.
don't care how good these impersonators are. No offense to Zine Z or any of those fucking guys because they're awesome. They really
Right.
are, but they're not Elvis. They're not going to be
Right.
Elvis,
Yeah.
And
But for diehard fans like us that never like, especially well, except for you, I mean, you got to see him live. But for someone like me, I was only 2 years old when he passed away.
right,
But I never got to see him. So this is the next best thing. It's funny. I'm going to bring set kind of sideways here for a minute because it's funny that you bring up the emergency room where the paddles are going on and everything. So I'm a
yeah,
huge, like I'm a big Typo Negative fan as well. And on one of their tours, I should say, was in Memphis, and Mike Amano was their tour manager, I believe. And there was some kind of a scuffle or some damn thing. Um, and they had to go to the emergency room. Well, the room that they were in was actually the room that they pronounced Elvis dead in.
Wow.
It's kind of bizarre. I never really thought of this until I was down in Graceland. But so my daughter's name is Presley after Elvis. My younger son is Maverick Steele after Peter Steele of Typo Negative, and it's kind of tied back to Elvis, I should say, of this that
Yeah.
story of what I heard.
Yeah.
But it's just funny of all that. But what's one song of Elvis that? What's your favorite Elvis song? Because it's so
Oh
hard for
man.
me. Of
I I mean, Elvis did so many songs, man.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, Suspicious Minds, just because it's just an iconic song. I mean, people hear Suspicious Minds, they know right away that's an
right,
Elvis song, right?
yep.
And you know, I think I kind of kill that song myself.
I think you sound great on it. I mean, honestly, I
uh,
think it sounds really good.
uh, I mean, I love. God, there's so many of them. I mean, you know, in my set, I mean, I got the set right here. I mean, yeah. So, you know, like I love singing something, the old Beatles song, you know.
Yep.
Uh, we do My Way, and you know, it's that's a big song to take on, man.
Oh yeah,
You don't
Frank
want
Sinatra.
you don't want to screw that song up, and I think we do a fairly good job of it. You know, of course, there's Burning Love and you know things like that. But I'd say my favorite song is probably going to be you know, Suspicious Minds.
Okay. Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard for me just because I love the King Creole era, that early 50s stuff,
Oh,
rockabilly stuff.
yeah,
But
that's
then you
yeah,
get
the
in,
movie stuff, huh?
yeah, well, I
So
mean, just that earlier stuff, but then I also get into that 70s vibe and that, and you take Polk Salad Annie. I mean, that's just the vibe of that song. And I love the movie studio version mix of that, what they just released for the movie.
oh, that
Um,
was what Elvis. Oh yeah, right.
the
The Austin
Elvis
Butler
movie.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he did. Dude,
Uh,
that guy did a badass job of that
oh
movie,
yeah,
man. You know, he sang all that stuff and everything. That's
yeah,
actually him.
yeah.
That
Spot
guy
on.
really took on the role, man. It was like spot on scary.
Yeah. The guy that does these that kind of manages these Elvis impersonators that I was telling you about was down there in Memphis, and I was talking to him backstage Saturday after one of the Saturday afternoons, and he was telling me that he kind of helped Austin in that movie of the actions and all that of what his impersonators and that do for their shows, and that it's kind of interesting really of what I mean, just the daily grind that he had to go through just to learn all that in 2 years. But
Yeah,
I mean, it showed.
yeah. Oh, and then he took on the persona for all that time, and then now that the movie's done, he's still walking around doing the Elvis thing. You know, he's like, I can't shake it, man. I can't shake it.
He could actually go out and tour with it though. I mean, if he really wanted to, he could.
Absolutely.
So now moving ahead here, I mean, you got some shows coming up with that Alive 85. I've seen down in Florida. What is it, 3 or 4 dates down there that you got going
Yeah,
on?
yeah. So we've been our hands have kind of been tied here to playing the local Washington, you know, Oregon, Idaho. We've taken a few jaunts over and we played Sturgis a couple of times.
Right,
But my hands have been kind of tied sticking to this local area because two of the guys in the band, you know, they got real jobs and
sure.
it costs them more money to take time off to go do, you know, a week or two
Right,
run than they're going to make out on the, you know, playing the show.
right.
So we've been basically stuck here to the you know the Northwest area. So Stet, my buddy Stet, drummer for Metal Church, Stet
Yeah.
Howland, is now playing drums for Alive 85, and I brought in Lynn Sorensen from Bad Company, Paul
Okay.
Rogers,
Yep.
playing bass, and both of those guys are set up to where they can tour. So I'm going to have the local, you know, my guys that have been Alive 85 for all the local stuff here.
Yep.
Because, you know, we do a couple of shows a month kind of thing, but it's the kind of show where you can't play too much in one area or you're going to burn the coolness of the show out.
Right. Right.
So the only way that this show can continue and become a full-time thing is if it actually travels and tours and goes to
Sure.
different states and, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully different countries soon.
Right.
We're working on all that stuff right now. Uh, So now I have got the home version of the Live 85, and we're going to fly out. Actually, this Saturday we fly out to Fort Myers, and we're going to be 4 days of rehearsal, working in Stet and Lynn, getting them up to speed with everything, and then we're going to do 3 shows. We're playing Pompano, Orlando, and Fort Myers.
Okay. So do you get like doing these shows and that you get all in your costume and everything? Do you get like butterfly? I mean, because you've been performing for quite some time, obviously with Metal Church and these other big bands in metal and that. But with this, it's a whole different ball game, right? Do you get that nervousness at all with doing this, or
Uh, Not really, because it's very natural for me to do it. I mean, I've been, ever since I was like 5 years old, standing in front of the mirror with a comb,
right?
pretending I was Elvis and shit like that. So it comes really natural to me, and I'm not really shy. I don't get the butterflies or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, one thing I'll tell you, it's easier to play in front of a crowd of 100,000 people than it is to play in front of 5 or 10 people in a living room or around a campfire
Right.
situation. Because I've done it in front of all size crowds, and I mean, when you're running out on a stage in front of 100,000 people, it's just a sea of people, and they're all
Right.
there to have a good time. I mean, they
Right.
came to see your show, and you run out there and you're not really seeing any of them, the whites of their eyes and stuff. But when you're sitting in a living room or a small club setting, you got people standing in the front row, they're looking you right in the white, right in the whites of your eyes, and they're like, sitting there with their arms crossed. So it's easier to play in front of a big crowd than a small crowd, for sure.
Yeah. You're right. And these shows, I guess it'd be kind of nice getting out. Has it been cold up where you're at?
It's been, I wouldn't say cold. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, rainy and gray like it normally is around here.
So, like I'm in Iowa here, so like this has been a really, really mild winter. But to go down
Yeah.
to Florida and get out of the cold, that's what I was getting to. It'd be nice just to even do all
Yeah.
that.
Usually we get, a few inches, 3, 4, 5 inches of snow once in a while. And I think we got snow like one time, it was maybe 3 or 4 inches and it was gone by the next day.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, which kind of sucks because I'm a skier, and I go up and
All right.
I
Where
just
do you,
went
where do you,
skiing last week.
oh, nice. Where do you go?
Well, I either go to Crystal Mountain or to Alpental, which is up on Snoqualmie Pass.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I lived out in Idaho for a little bit, and I think you know Marty Reese at all.
I know Marty Reese well, good friend of mine.
Yeah, so I got to know Marty down in Salt Lake with Rocky Mountain
Yeah.
Hardcore for a while, and we actually we kind of teamed up together and booked a bunch of shows throughout Utah, Montana, Idaho, and all that, and but anyway, it just brought me up of because I know Marty's in Idaho there too now, and but I used to when I lived there in Idaho, we'd always go like to Cargill or the other side over there to Jackson Hole for skiing and that kind of thing. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's back when I could do all that shit. Fuck, I'm almost 50 years old now. I don't think I could even do it. And look at you, you're sitting there.
I'm 55, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I get up off and sitting Indian style playing games with my kids, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can barely get up out of an Indian style.
Yeah. Well, I refuse to get old, man. I'm just telling you. I mean, yeah, I got some gray hairs here and there, and a little
Yeah,
less hair than I used to have, and all that kind of stuff. But I try to stay active, man. I mean, obviously I play in several different bands, so I'm always out running, catching
right,
flights, doing shows, running around a stage. But when I'm not doing that, I'm totally active doing other stuff. Like wintertime, I'm skiing.
right,
Summertime, me and my kids, we scuba dive, we jet ski, we ride dirt bikes, I
sure,
ride a Harley, so I'm always out doing something.
right. You how do you track all this? Do you have someone helping you out and doing that stuff for you? This is where you're going to be here, or this is what's going on here,
No,
or
I pretty much keep everything under control myself.
okay,
Yeah.
because
One of these
that's the
days it'd be nice to have you know, cute little secretary.
well, I had Ira Black on my podcast a couple of weeks
I love
ago,
Ira.
and his wife does all of his stuff. So
Yeah.
there you
So
go.
I just got back from we did the UK, We did like 11 shows, I think, between
Uh-huh.
England and Scotland. And so I was with Ira. I think I just got back like last week or week and a
Yeah,
half
yeah,
ago.
because we did that podcast right before he was leaving with the Bullet Boys over there
Yeah,
for that
yeah.
week.
I
Yeah,
went over and
really,
did
really
that
cool
that
guy.
tour with him. So
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah.
really, really cool guys. Glad to have them on and everything. But so what's the latest with Metal Church then?
Well, Metal Church is on a bit of a hiatus right now. We the last thing we did, we went over to Australia
Uh-huh.
and just catching planes and running through airports and you know you get off a plane and you got a 2 hour drive to where the fucking venue is and then you do that and then you get the show done you got to go 2 hours back to the airport to get on a 4 hour flight to go to the next show. We just kind of drove Kurt into the ground. He's already got a bad back and a bad hip and
Sure.
so he's right now doing rehab on his body. He seems to think that he can fix things with rehabilitation and
Uh-huh.
I wish him the best of luck. But I mean, more than likely, I mean, I've already gone through it. I had back surgery, and it's unfortunately, to fix him, it's probably going to take surgery. But
Sure.
that's his call, and I know he doesn't want to do it. So he's
Yeah.
trying the best he can with rehabilitation to get himself up and strong enough to stand up on stage. I mean, there was a couple of times. We're in the middle of a show, and he's got to go sit down in a chair on the side of the stage, and it's like, you know, he doesn't want to do that, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you can't blame them. I
physical
mean,
limitations are a bitch, man.
right. Yeah.
So
Mine just
so
comes
yeah, Metal Church is basically on a hiatus until further notice. Hopefully
yeah.
hopefully things will pick up and we'll take off again and do some stuff next summer. I just don't know. So
Right.
in the meantime, I'm staying busy with Alive 85 and Autograph, and I have another side original project that I do, and
Sure.
I do a bunch of other things like that gig with NYC with Tommy
Yeah.
Bolin.
Yeah.
Uh, I did that Bullet Boys show with my friend Dan Crenshaw. He needed a bass player at the last minute because his couldn't
Uh-huh.
get a passport for some reason and couldn't go do the show. So he called me up. He's like, "Dude, please tell me you can do
Yeah.
this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go do it."
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up going with him.
Oh,
But yeah,
nice.
I just keep busy doing all different projects, man, and yeah, trying to live my life in between doing gigs.
That latest Metal Church album, honestly, and that had the new lead singer that you guys had on there, right? And
Yeah, Mark.
yeah, and it sounded like it honestly, he sounds a lot like Bobby from Overkill to me.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
mean any disrespect at all because I think
No,
it sounds awesome. But it's a great solid album. I mean,
thanks, man. Yeah,
it's heavy.
we worked hard on that one. Yeah, I mean, with the passing of Mike Howe, we had to, we sat down for a while and we were like, God damn, is this the end of Metal Church? I mean,
Right. And
is
it
this
would
how we go
be
out? And
that'd
it's
be
like,
kind of tough to sit there, you know what I mean? Of just getting that, all right, how getting everybody together, how are we gonna go move forward, especially with the voice of the group. Right.
yeah, Mike Howe, everybody loved Mike, and nobody expected him to do what he did, but he did. And
Yeah,
we, as the rest of the band, we were left, holding it in our hands. What are we going to do with this band that we've been playing in forever? I mean,
right,
I got over 20 years in the band. And it's
right,
like, what are you just going to throw that all away because one of your guys made a poor decision? And
right,
I mean, is that really the way we want the world to remember Metal Church? Oh yeah, they were
right,
great until the guy took himself out, and
right,
that's how it ended. So it took us a couple of years to let the dust settle, and everybody do the best we can to kind of get over it. I mean, that's all you can really do. You got to get over it and move on. And we decided that can't be the way Metal Church ends.
right.
So we went on the search to find a singer, and Kurt had another guy. I can't remember what his name is, but Kurt was pretty set on getting this guy, and I was like, his idea was to find a guy that didn't really have a name but could sing his ass off, and we would break a guy in. And then and I was like, or we could get a guy that does have a name and has a proven track record and would kill or die to do this because Middle Church has been one of his favorite bands all his life.
Sure.
And I know the guy. Stet and I, you know, we good friends with him, with Mark. And so, you know, we talked to Mark, and Mark's like, dude, give me the shot. Give me the shot. I want to do this. And so I put Kurt together with Mark, and they started doing some phone calls back and forth, and then they started sending some tracks back and forth. And Mark started, you know, doing some demo tracks and sending it back, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. And the next thing I know, Mark is in the band.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did the album, and we knew it had to be an ass-kicking album. I mean, there's no way you could come back after losing somebody like Mike Howe, which was such a huge part of Metal Church, and the fans loved him. And, you know, I mean, we were going to basically be under a microscope, and we knew it. So it had to be a balls out album. And I think we achieved what we were trying to do, because it's a balls out album for sure.
Yeah, it's a heavy album. Like, I think probably one of my favorite songs on it is Pick a God and Pray. I mean, that's to me, just the intro, the guitars and that, everything. I mean, it's a heavy song, but it sounds really, really good. It's kind of too bad you couldn't. I mean, how many shows did you guys do on that album? 5 shows.
Oh boy, we did. We did a couple of trips to Europe. We did a couple of portions of the U.S. We did 2 or 3 East Coast 2-week runs. So I mean, you know, it's probably 30, 40 shows maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a great
a fraction
album.
a fraction of what we should be doing. You know,
Sure.
I mean, we should be out right now. You know, we had a bunch of European festival dates. We had actually, I'm supposed to be out on a tour right now. Dates that we've gone all right through this time. You know, unfortunately, you know, Kurt's just physically not able to do it. So
Right. Yeah. And yeah, this gig with Autograph, I mean, that's kind of a blessing in disguise, really, then, with all this that's going on, then, really. I mean,
yeah. So when I got the call, you know, it's unfortunate the way I got the gig there with Autograph, you know.
right.
But I recorded an album over in France with Stet and a guy named Pete Scheitauer, and Michael Becerra did the vocals on it. And when it went to go get mixed, they didn't really think that Pete Scheitauer's guitar playing fit the songs. So they then hired Jimmy Bell to come in and record the guitar tracks, and it fit the album a whole lot better. And so Jimmy and I had never actually met, but we recorded an album together. And you know, so obviously, you know, I knew he could play, he knew I could play, and God, it's, you know, when Randy passed away, I got a phone call, or actually I got a message from Jimmy Bell. And his first question was, "Hey, bro, can you sing?" And I was like, "Fuck, I know where this is going." I go, "Yeah, I can sing." He's like, "How would you feel about playing for Autograph?" And I go, "Dude, I fucking love Autograph, man. Autograph, actually, it's crazy because my first concert was Elvis. My second live band that I ever saw was Autograph. I went to go see the Motley Crue Theater of Pain tour, and it was Autograph and Motley Crue. So I went to that concert, and, you know, of course, I was like, Autograph, you know, turn up the it, you know. And then I started pushing my way up front, you know, trying to get, you know, back in the day where it was open seating and it was free for all. So you just, you know, fought your way up to the front. And I got up to the bar, and the stage is right there, and I'm waiting for Motley Crue to come out. And band comes out. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This ain't Motley Crue. And I sat there. I'm like, fuck. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, damn, these guys are good.
Yeah.
And by about halfway through the first song, I'm like, fuck, you guys are killer. And then the second song, I'm like, God damn, this band is killer. Holy shit. Third song, I'm like, what the fuck? These guys are badass. And it was Y&T.
Okay.
So when I got the ticket to the concert said, you know, Autograph and Motley Crue. So I had no idea Y&T was on the bill. And, you know, I'm a 14, 15-year-old kid. What the fuck do I know? And I'm like, who the fuck are these guys?
Where
they
was
ended
that
up
at?
becoming one of my favorite bands. So like the next day I went out and bought a bunch of Y&T albums. But
Yeah,
anyway, back to the autograph thing. They were the second band that I actually seen live as a kid.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Where was that
Anyway,
show at?
so yeah, what's that?
Where was that show at?
That was in, that would have been either Tacoma or Seattle.
Okay, so
I
you
can't,
grew up in Seattle area then, huh?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Been here my whole life,
Yeah.
really.
So going through all the state, I mean, Seattle's a big music, I mean, community as well. I mean, Christ, Jimi
A lot of
Hendrix
things
is
came out of
buried
here,
there.
man. A
Yeah.
lot of bands came out.
And I mean, you got the whole Seattle movement and all that. I mean, it is what I mean, you'll say what that is. But did you ever run around with any of them, like any like guys of Alice in Chains, or I mean, because even Duff McKagan was running around in those days there too. I mean, did you run into any of
Yeah.
them guys?
Yeah. Jerry Cantrell. So I was in a band at the time called Crystal Tear,
Okay.
and we actually rehearsed. We had a management company called the fuck were they? Stonehenge Productions, I believe, and we were both working both. This is before Alice in Chains. This was back when he was still. God, what were they called before Alice in Chains? Oh, I can't remember what they
I,
were called, but
yeah, I
Diamond Lie.
honestly wouldn't
They were
know.
called Diamond Lie, and then they
Okay.
changed the band name to Phoenix. Anyway, during the Diamond Lie era, uh, we played together, and this guy had a house. The guy that managed us, he had a big house with his whole downstairs was set up as a rehearsal studio, and so
Uh-huh.
we shared that rehearsal studio. So we crossed paths quite a few times, in the 2 years that we were with that guy,
Yeah.
and and it's crazy because in Diamond Lie, my buddy Bobby Nesbitt was the drummer
Oh,
for
really?
Diamond Lie, who turned into Alice in Chains.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when they were like, "Hey, we're gonna move to L.A. and we're gonna blow up and make it big." And Bobby was like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm moving to L.A." And then they fucking moved to L.A. and then they fucking blew up and became the biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
So
It,
yeah, my buddy Bobby, I fuck with him all the time. I'm like, "Still kicking your ass," and he's like,
Could I have another drink?
"Yeah."
No pun. I mean, that sounds terrible, but so how did I gotta know? Like I've known Tommy for quite some time. The guy's a ball. I probably talk to him weekly or probably once every 2 weeks. I love calling him up and fucking with him and just getting them fired up. We're big into Hot Wheels and that together. How'd that whole thing come together? How'd that?
Well, I've known Tommy for a lot of years, and we were always like friendly with each other. We always like knew each other was high fived, and we were on tour together a lot with Metal Church and Doro,
Uh-huh.
and so we got to know each other pretty well, like on the tours and things like that. Uh, and he was putting together this NYC thing to record this album, and he was like looking around trying to find bass player and a drummer and shit like that. And then somebody was like, "Well, why don't you call fucking Steve Unger?" And he's like, "Why the fuck didn't I think of that myself?" So he fucking, he's like, "Dude, I don't even know why the fuck it took me so long to call you." And I'm like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And, he was like, "Hey, man, I'm doing this thing, and I thought that we've known each other so long. I can't believe that you weren't my first phone call, but I'm calling now. Are you interested in doing it?" I was like, "Well, fuck yeah, man." Every time you walk through a door and you do something, it opens up doors and
Right. You
opportunities
never
and
know where it's gonna
possibilities. And
lead.
you never know, man. You
Yeah.
never do. Uh, and anyway, he's like, "Well, we're gonna need a drummer." And I was like, "Well, why the fuck don't I get Stet to fucking do it?" And he's like, "Well, you get Stet to do it." I'm like, probably. So I called
Yeah.
Stet and we all got together and Tommy flew us out there and we spent 3-4 days in a rehearsal studio just going over the songs. And then we spent another 3 days, 4 days in the studio banging the album out.
Yeah.
It fucking it turned out pretty solid.
Yeah. I've heard some of it and I
I,
can't wait to hear it. You
I
take a
haven't heard
guy.
anything finished yet. I know he's
No,
been
I
putting his
haven't
vocals
either.
on it and all the guitars
Yeah.
and everything, so I haven't heard the finished product yet. I'm anxious
Yeah.
to hear it.
I asked him, I said, what Hot Wheel do I gotta send you to hear something?
Yeah. So here's a fucking hysterical story. So uh, Tommy and I, we've known each other, through touring and such, but he didn't know that I like fucking with people and busting balls and shit like that. So when he flew us down, but it was cheaper for me to fly down to Las Vegas, where Stet was, and stay with Stet for a night, and then we drove the 4.5 hour drive over from Vegas over to LA.
Sure.
So Tommy had everything worked out. He had the rehearsal studios all paid up in advance, and he had the recording studio, just everything was paid for, and everything was on a timeline and shit.
Yeah.
And we got Seth and I are about halfway to LA, and I fucking sent Tommy a message. And I was like, "Hey, bro, Seth and I got a little sidetracked. We got offered to be judges for the RuPaul Drag Race show tonight here in Vegas. So we're gonna leave in the morning. We'll see you tomorrow evening sometime." And there was like no response, and we're still fucking driving, and we're driving. And Stet's like laughing, and I'm laughing, and all of a sudden he's like, "What the fuck? You gotta be kidding me!"
Because it's not cheap.
So we totally I let him stew for like an hour before I took a picture of us in the car driving. He's like, "You fucking guys are fucking assholes."
It almost makes me want to call him, just fuck with him about it, just because he has a Brooklyn accent with him.
Yeah, I can ask him about that, because he's like, you guys got me good, man. What the fuck? I was about ready to start shooting people.
he goes to 0 to 10 in about a matter of a few.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll say this: he's probably one, in my opinion, probably one of the most underrated guitar players for metal music, I think, out there. I mean, the guy's fucking talented.
He's a monster, man.
Yeah, and just to see the shit that he even does with Doro and Warlock still, I mean, it's pretty mind blowing to me. So I'm really excited to hear this new stuff, and especially with some um, heavy stuff behind him finally. So that'll be pretty cool. And you haven't heard any of the finished stuff yet, huh?
I haven't heard anything finished yet, man.
Jesus, you should start texting him and being like, "Look, we came down there. Where's our finished shit?"
Yeah, what's up, man?
Actually, how I met Tommy was actually through Marty Reese.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was working with a band in Idaho Falls area there, and Marty called me up and he goes, "Hey, I need a favor from you. I got a good friend of mine from California who used to be in Warlock and that back in the day, but he's looking for some shows. He's coming through there." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll hook him up." So I got him. I think it's 4 or 5 shows around Idaho and then up into Montana even. But one of the shows was on Halloween, and it was like on a Tuesday or some damn thing, but it was up in Billings, Montana, and it was snowing. It was like a fucking blizzard up there. And anyway, no one out at the show. There was 25 people there. I was fucking lucky. And I just felt terrible because the show, I mean, being in this business, the show didn't make fucking nothing.
Oh yeah.
And at that time, it is, you paid the bands of what you made at the door or what you made in merchandise. Well, I felt so fucking bad. I gave them money out of my own pocket just to help them out, and we became closest of friends ever since then.
Yeah.
It's how you say, if you do people right, and you never know what doors are going to open. That was a prime example of that deal right there.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And we've always kept in touch since then. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So with that, I mean, what else besides this Live 85 or the shows down in Florida? Are you doing anything else then coming up with that, or anything in the books that you're working on?
I mean, I have some local shows. I think like April 21st and 22nd, or 20th and 21st. I play some shows. I got a Tacoma show here at Jazz Bones, and then I got an Everett show at Tony V's. I got some sporadic shows here locally through the summer, but the reason that we're doing this thing here this week in Florida is we're readying the band so that we can actually start booking tours through the country. So yeah, and when I'm calling you up, I'm like, "Hey man, I need 5 shows, bro."
Yeah. I'm out of that loop. I couldn't even tell you where to fucking call around here
Yeah, yeah, I
I
don't
moved
blame you.
back.
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, and it's got to be tricky, especially in today. You know what I mean? Because everybody just jumps on YouTube. They want to see it, and that's, in my
Yeah, but
opinion.
you really can't. You really can't replace being there, the live
No, you
everything.
can't. And unfortunately, some of this younger generation just don't give a fuck either,
Yeah, they don't know. I know. It's tough.
and that's why I thought it's really important to me to bring my daughter down to see a live show like that down in Graceland and that. And we've taken her to other, like, we have a family condo thing over in Okoboji, Iowa, where they do, like, we seen Tommy James and the Shondells last year. I was fucking pumped to see that show. I was really excited to see that, and it's a great live
Yep.
show, and my mom always listened to him, and so that was important for me. But I think it's important for my kids to get out and see some of these live acts and that, just to experience it versus seeing it versus the screen. And as a
Well,
musician, this is what I'm curious to know with your thoughts on this. When you look out in the crowd, is it frustrating seeing phones up recording?
not at all, man. Uh, I, I mean, if there wasn't people doing it, I look at that the same way I look at people, and I don't understand how some musicians they don't want to talk to fans. If somebody comes up to them and
Right.
asks them for a picture or an autograph, they look annoyed or they don't want to do it. And I've
Yeah.
never understood that because apparently they've forgotten who got them there and why they're
Right.
able to do what they get to do.
Right.
And the only thing that people holding up a phone is they're trying to share what they're doing right now
Right. What
with
they're
friends at home
experiencing.
that aren't there, or they want
Yeah.
to take it home and rewatch again.
Yeah.
So I think you need to start worrying if people aren't holding phones up these days, because
Yeah.
then they don't give a shit. They're just like, ah, fuck, we just got to get off the stage so the headliner could come out here and actually entertain
Right.
us. Uh,
So for
so I mean,
like
it
like
doesn't
for
bother me at all when people are doing, pics and videos and such like that, because that just
right.
tells me that they think that you're worthy of them keeping it as a memory.
Right. So like even down there in Memphis and that, I think I only recorded one full live song through that whole weekend that I was there. And that's just because it's what that Long Black Limousine. I think it's a great, gospels type song, but it just has a cool vibe to it, that I liked. But same deal. I love living in that experience of, and like what you just said though too, the reason why I recorded it so I could relive that
Yeah,
moment too. So
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, uh,
it makes sense. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah. I mean, like one of my favorite bands was Kiss, and I went to go see Kiss on this final tour. And of course, for the most part, I'm just watching the show because I'm taking it in. I'm in the moment. But like my favorite song, of course, you want Detroit Rock City. So I'm up there,
Right.
gotta lose my Detroit Rock City, just singing along with them and just see, there it is. It's probably the last time I've ever seen Kiss. And you look around and there's like a million phones up in the air, and it's just like,
Right.
yeah. Uh, but I've seen guys like I saw Sebastian Bach freak out on a crowd one time because there was so many people holding phones up in the air, and I was like, dude, I was on a cruise ship, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the audience. They're there for you, and whatever they're doing. I mean, I can see if they're all talking on the phone while you're performing, but they're not talking on the phone. They're holding it
Right.
up and
They're
they're
just
recording
recording.
what you're doing.
Right. It's no different. I guess the other thing too, like I remember obviously growing up in the 80s and early 90s, and you'd have guys that would be bootlegging live video, video on VHS tapes. Remember that?
Oh
Of
yeah,
guys would bootleg live shows, and that was a way of seeing, you know, that's how a lot of the underground music was really happening in those
yeah,
days. But yeah, it's kind of a I shouldn't say a cool concept, but interesting concept of just a
yeah. Well, remember,
generation gap
remember
of,
when they used to like bring in camcorders into a movie theater and like
yeah,
the
yeah,
opening day of the thing, and
right.
2 days later they're selling the movie out on the street for $5. Of course, you got to watch it. It's all fucking shaking and shit like that from a
The sound's
video
all
game.
muffled up, or you hear the ladies spilling the popcorn next to you.
Yeah, yeah. The guy next to you, right, eating popcorn and jujubes.
Yeah. They what what are you listening to now? Like what are you into now?
What am I listening to?
Yeah, like
Uh,
what bands are you into right now?
dude, well, one of my favorite bands is actually my son's band. They're called Sin Circus. I don't know if you've heard anything about Sin Circus
Yeah,
or not.
Tommy told me a little bit about it, and honestly, I haven't looked any of it up or anything. I've seen it on your Facebook page and all that, and some of them
Check them
guys are in
out,
your
man.
live.
They're fucking, they're brilliant, man. These guys, I mean, I basically raised my kids to be rock stars,
Sure,
and so they have the it factor. Some
right.
people are really good, and then they get up on stage, and you're like, well, they're really good, but there's just something that
There's
falls
no
flat.
live, right?
There's yeah. But my kids just it's the way they were raised. It's natural that they do what they do, and they're such a good band. I mean, they're scary good, and I mean
Yeah,
they're
and you
fucking.
manage them too, don't you?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they have surpassed me by a long shot, man. But either one of my kids could play circles around me. And
yeah.
it's crazy because when Metal Church would be out on tour and Autograph had a date that conflicted with Metal Church, my oldest son Devin would fly out and do the Autograph show for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's actually the lead guitar player for Sin Circus.
Yeah,
But I taught him all the vocal parts he's got to sing, and he's like, "Oh, I got it." He goes, "Oh, I gave him one of my basses." I'm like, "All right, here you go, learn the shit." And week later, he's like, "I'm ready to go." And of course, the Autograph guys were like, "Oh, dude, why don't you have your son go play for Metal Church?" And I'm like, It's a little bit different learning Autograph
yeah,
stuff than it is Metal Church stuff. I mean, Metal Church stuff is super intricate. There's a reason for
right.
every fucking note being exactly where it's at. And if you miss that note, it could turn into a fucking complete snowball of disastrous shit. uh, and
And you'd have the diehards up in the front, like, what the fuck is
yeah,
this?
who the fuck is this kid? Uh,
Yeah,
Whereas in Autograph, I mean, it's much more simplified music, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, I love playing an Autograph. I love the fucking music. Uh, but Metal Church would be a whole lot bigger task for somebody to learn my parts and go fill my shoes in Metal Church than it would have to do that. So
right.
I think Devin's probably covered me in 5 or 6 shows. And one of the last shows he did almost broke my heart that I couldn't play it because it was with one of my favorite bands. They were playing direct support for Cheap Trick. And I've never played with Cheap Trick. I've seen them like
Oh,
five,
wow.
six
Yeah,
times, but I've never actually, got to hang
sure.
out, meet them, and hang backstage with them and shit. Fuck, when the Metal Church date came in, I was like, fuck, I specifically asked for this date off.
Yeah,
And he's the one that does the bookings with our agent. He's like, I know, bro, but it's like right in the middle of what could be an awesome run.
yeah,
Are you gonna do it or not? I'm like, well, of course I'm gonna do it. I'm fucking bass player for Metal Church, so
right,
that's where my loyalty lies. Of course I'm
right.
gonna do it, but I'm not happy about not playing the show with Autograph. So
Yeah.
that's that was probably the biggest ouch for me when my son had to cover for me because I really
And
wanted to play that show.
the
But
irony of it, the irony of that show, not to interrupt you, but the irony of that show too with Cheap Trick doing that, they had a big cover of Elvis too, Don't Be Cruel.
no, yeah, don't be cruel.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it'd been cool to even see that live too.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, let's see. Other than that, man, I mean, what I listen to? I mean, dude, I listen to everything. Uh, I've done a lot of these kind of things. These podcasts where I'm
Yeah.
video or I'm talking on the phone. Like during the summer, people call me, and I'll be out on my boat, right? And I'll be sitting there talking to somebody. And they're like, dude, you must be like rocking out to some Slayer, Raining Blood or something like that. I'm like, no, actually, I got ABBA rocking right now, And after ABBA, I think I got some Olivia Newton-John coming up next. And
Yeah.
after that, some Little River Band. I'm
Right.
out there with my chick and my dog and my beer in my hand and a joint in my other hand. And
Right.
I'm just out living the life. The last thing I want to do is go,
Right.
I mean, I
Yeah.
do enough of that shit when I'm out on fucking tour.
Right.
So, no, I don't listen. I don't even listen to my own stuff really,
Yeah.
except lately this new thing that I've been in. It's called. Right now, we're going by the name One and Done. We just finished recording an album, so it's been in the mixing phase. So
Sure.
every time it gets mixed, we say, no, we need a little more low end and lower end. There's always something missing. So we send it in and it gets mixed. So I've been driving around for the last 2 months, listening over and over and over to the one and done stuff. And I'm not sure we're going to keep that name one and done. It's kind of a cool name, but it kind of gives off the vibe that, it's one album and it's over, one and done. Right? That's how most people interpret it. So we just had a band meeting like 2 nights ago, and we're trying to come up with a name that fits the band. And I threw a couple of them out. I'm like, most of the songs are about chicks, sex and all this kind of shit. Right, and I'm the lead singer of that band. So I threw out some names like Cherry Box Bandits, Honey Biscuit. Just some fucked up names, and a couple of them the guys were like, that's not bad. So
yeah. Is it pretty heavy then, or is it?
No, it's not heavy at all. It's like pop rock, I guess. Okay. I mean, it's kind of, people that have heard it say that it sounds like a cross between 38 Special, Cheap Trick, and Spin Doctors, because it's got the pop side to it, but yet it's got some gravel to it. It's driving guitars. I could. I don't know if you wanted to put one of them into this podcast. I could send you one of the MP3s. You could put it in there if you want.
Yeah. All right. I'll put it in towards the end. I'll put it on the end.
All right.
So not a problem.
Cool.
But, it's interesting how you say your music side, because I'm the same way. Like obviously I listen to almost everything you could imagine, like you have. I'll listen to, but I don't give a fuck if anybody says. I think it's great music.
They're fucking awesome, man. Anybody that says ABBA sucks, they don't know what music is, man. I mean, you can't have that many hits and suck, okay?
Yeah. I got
the same thing with Nickelback. So many people bag on Nickelback, and I think they're fucking killer. I've seen them like 5 fucking times, and every time they blow me away. I'm like, God damn! People just they don't like them because they keep writing hits. I mean, what is the problem? Why do people not like Nickelback?
Yeah, it's more, I think, of what would you say, of just people just finding a way to bag on. You could even say that about Hootie and the Blowfish. You remember that? I mean, when they were another great band, that was really big, and then he went off and obviously did his country thing, but same deal. But no, I love my music spectrum is all over the fucking place too.
I listen to everything, man. Country. At one time I played in the country band. I was lead singer of a country band before I was in metal church.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been in rock bands, and when grunge was the big thing, Nirvana was big, and all these like bands. I mean, they looked like they'd get on stage looking like they just got off work at the fucking local garage, all greased up and tennis shoes and dirty jeans and shit. Looked like they haven't taken a shower for 3 fucking days. And I was like, that's not me, man. I mean, I came from the school of, when you're on stage, you should look like you belong on stage. You're there, you're fucking putting on a show, you're there to entertain people. And I've never been a depressive guy. So when these guys came in with the grunge stuff, I'm like, I hate this and fuck that. And I did not gel with it at all. And at that time, I mean, that's when like bands like Brooks and Dunn and Montgomery Gentry and, guys like that were coming in, and they were becoming the new country sound. And if you listen to those guys, it's basically Southern rock with a fiddle and some fucking slide guitar and, some country lyrics in it. Yeah. And I was like, well, if the rock that I like playing isn't cool anymore, I'm not going to give in and fucking play the stuff just because that's what's cool right now. So I fucking jumped over that completely, and I went to play in a country band. So I formed a band called the Wesley James Band. And we were actually doing pretty good, man. We were recording albums, and we were out doing like fair circuits and such like that, and we were doing great. We were an up and coming country band, man. And I was actually sitting right here in the same fucking seat that I'm sitting right now. This is my studio here.
Uh-huh.
And I was sitting right here recording with the country band when I got the phone call from Kurt Vanderhoof asking if I wanted to, come check out if I want to play for Metal Church or not. So
And that's how
and
that all came together then.
that's how it all came together. That's a hell of a story there too.
At
We
first though, because if you're doing the country deal, and then I mean you're talking one extreme to the next extreme, right?
yeah.
So were you just like, Jesus Christ, what the hell am I doing here?
Well, I mean, I was really digging the country stuff that we were doing because it was like Southern rock. It was more Southern rock than it was country. And God, we had things going on. I mean, we were getting shows on fairs and the stuff that a country band does. And I had before. I mean, are we on a time stretch here or anything like that?
No, no, no. You
Okay,
take all the time you
so
want. We got 2 hours here, so we're on hour number one.
here's how this all came about. Uh, Before the country band, I was in a band that I put together, and this is like goddamn, this is like early '90s, I guess. And the band was called Glam Slam, and it was basically exactly what Steel Panther is doing right now, but before Steel Panther was doing it. And I guess not enough time had passed from the '80s to when I was doing it, so it wasn't quite cool yet. It
Right.
hadn't become quite retro.
Right.
And so we did that band for probably 2-3 years, and it was a big production. I mean, God, we were on the zebra stripe spandex and the big hair and fucking 30-foot drop curtains and fucking bombs that went off. I mean, we put on the show, and we just went around and we got paid to have fun and pretend we were making. I mean, we were not really making fun of the '80s like Steel Panther does. We were basically recreating the '80s, but in a fun way, and joking around about it. And Ronnie Monroe, who I've known for a long time, I mean, we kind of grew up together. He was the singer of Glam Slam, and I was the bass player. And I quit Glam Slam. I was like, "Hey, Ronnie, I got to get back and do some original shit, man. And I'm gonna start putting all my time and effort into this country original project that I got going on." And so Ronnie decided to keep the band going, and he replaced me with another bass player, and he changed the name to Metal Gods or something like that. So they maybe a year or two went by, and they were still doing fine, and I was in the country band and everything like that. And Ronnie calls me up one day and he's like, "Hey man, my bass player's got another band he plays with the Aphrodisiacs, and he's got a gig this weekend playing in Las Vegas with the Aphrodisiacs, and just calling to see if you can remember how to play those songs, if you'd be willing to come and sit in with us." So I was like, "Yeah, man, I can remember them songs, no problem, man. I'll come rock out with you guys." So I went down and I showed up at the venue where the show was, and Ronnie hands me this fucking wig that's like down to my ass, long hair, right? I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck is this?" He goes, yeah, it's all part of the show, man. We all wear wigs now, and I mean, we just everything's over the top. And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm just a fill-in guy, and I already got long hair." And he goes, "Yeah, you got to do it, bro. It's just, I mean, it's what people expect to see. They've seen the show now for a few years, and this is what you have to do." And I'm like, "Fuck." So I put this wig on my head, like my hair is all sticking out underneath the wig. I'm like, "This is the gayest shit I've ever seen, man." And so my girlfriend, she's like, "Hey, you got to put your hair in a ponytail, and you got to put a pair of pantyhose on top of your head, and then put the wig on." I was like, "What the fuck?" So of course, I put in a ponytail, put the fucking pantyhose on my fucking head, put the wig on, run out there on stage to go play the fucking show. And like, I don't know, third, fourth song, man, I'm like just rocking back and forth. And this fucking wig is so long that the fucking wig hair goes and wraps around my tuning pegs and my bass. And it pulls the wig off my fucking head. And now the wig is hanging from the headstock of my bass. And I'm on stage with a pair of pantyhose on top of my fucking head. The crowd is in hysterics, right? So I'm like, fuck. I felt like about this big, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I had to just kind of roll with it, like it was part of the show and shit. So I'm like tugging on the thing, and I'm trying to get this off of my headstock, and it's so tangled and wrapped around my tuning pegs. I'm like, fuck! So I yanked it, and there's like a big chunk of hair is just still hanging from my base, and I'm like, fuck! Give me this thing. Put it back on my head, and of course, I got no mirror, so it's on backwards and sideways and shit. And the crowd's losing their shit in hysterics, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm dying inside,
like a Spinal Tap moment of
totally. So anyway, the song ends. I run off stage and I get the thing back on straight and everything, and run back. I would finish the show. So at the end of the show, the guys in Metal Church have been looking for a singer so that they could reform Metal Church, and somebody had gave them a tip that they need to go see this Ronnie Monroe guy because he'd be perfect for Metal Church. Mm-hmm. Well, the night that I was filling in happened to be the night that they had the scouts there looking who would be a good singer for Metal Church. And so they approached Ronnie, and Ronnie, of course, has been a Metal Church fan since he was a kid. So he's like, Jesus Christ, of course, I'm in. I'll quit everything. I'm ready. And Ronnie went the next day to go and sit in the studio with him and do some tracking and things like that. And while he was doing that, I was sitting right here in this very chair in front of my board, this same fucking board, with my country band. And Ronnie calls me up and he's like, hey man, I'm here with the Metal Church guys, and they're asking about you. They saw you last night when you played with me. I was like, fuck. You mean when they saw the wig incident? The great wig caper.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. They thought that you would be a good fit for the band too. And anyway, Kurt wants to talk to you. And so he hands the phone to Kurt, and I'm like sitting here, and of course I got my guys in the country band. They're like, dude, get off the phone. We're trying to record here. And I'm like, hang on, guys. And so, Kurt, he's like, hey man, we're just interested to see if you got any interest in coming playing for Metal Church. And I was like, hey man, I'm in the middle of a fucking recording session with my other band right now. Can I give you a call back like later tonight or tomorrow? And so he goes, yeah, no problem. So I got his number, and I laid in bed for that whole night, wide awake, wondering, fuck, what should I do? I was not really a Metal Church fan. I mean, right. I was always an 80s rock fan. I mean, Kiss and Whitesnake and Motley Crue. Those were the kind of rock bands I liked. And although I always knew who Metal Church was, and we've even partied together, like when I was a kid, down in Aberdeen, my band used to play a place called the Nordic Inn, and the after parties would be at the Metal Church pad. Uh-huh. And it's just crazy that, years later I get a phone call, hey man, you want to be in the band? And so, I was like, I just questioned myself. I'm like, man, things are going so good with the country deal right now, but I mean, Metal Church are already doing what I'm trying to get doing with this country, man. I mean, if I say yes to this, I'm gonna have to learn a bunch of shit. And but there's gonna be albums, and there's gonna be tours, and there's gonna be overseas shit, which is something I always wanted to do.
Right.
And so I called the next day, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I need to come and take a crack at it. Right. And so the next day I fucking went over to the Metal Church studio, and it was two original guys, Kirk Harrington, God rest his soul, he passed away about a year ago now, and Kurt Vanderhoof. They were in there, so we strapped on our guitars and our basses, and we just started playing. They gave me like 3 songs to learn.
Yep.
And I made it through like halfway through Beyond the Black, and Kurt just takes his guitar off and he sets it down and he walks out of the studio, and I'm like, fuck, I thought shit was going pretty good.
Oh, pretty fun, guys.
Kurt, he gets out from behind the drums and he walks outside with them, and I'm sitting there looking at Ronnie. I'm like, fuck, I guess I didn't go as good as I thought it was going. And they turn around, they walk back in, they're like, hey man, the gig's yours if you want it. I was like, fuck, off of half a song? You don't even want to hear the other 2 songs that I learned how to play too? And they're like, no, we've seen you play. We know you can play. You got the look. You can sing. I mean, you got everything we need. Are you interested? And I was like, fuck, let's do this, man. So the next day we started, learning the songs, and we recorded Weight of the World, and here we are 20 years later. I'm still playing bass for Metal Church.
Yeah. It's you said that was down in Aberdeen, Washington. There
Yeah,
is that where them guys would
yeah.
practice
The
and all
band was
that? And then
the band was formed in Aberdeen. I know a
which
lot
is
of
that's
people think that it was formed in San Francisco,
uh
but that's it's not true. The band was formed in Aberdeen, and at one point, Kurt moved to San Francisco in the band at that time because Kurt was the founder of the band. You know,
sure.
uh, and that's kind of when it was blowing up. So a lot of people think the band was originally from there, but they're not. It's Aberdeen,
Gotcha.
Washington.
So and that's where actually Kurt Cobain is buried, isn't
Yep,
it?
Nirvana. Yep.
Yeah. But and why I'm bringing that up is my wife's younger brother was actually married in Ocean Shores, Washington there. So we flew
Mm-hmm.
out there to go to the wedding. We flew in Seattle, and one of the stops, I had to get something to fucking drink. I was just thirstier than hell, and we stopped in Aberdeen. I didn't know that at that particular time that Kurt Cobain was actually buried there. I would have stopped just to see that.
Yeah, that's where he grew up there too.
Yeah.
They
Um,
Nirvana
but I
used to
didn't.
be at the parties that I would go to. And it was before they were Nirvana.
Sure.
They, man, I mean, they'd be playing like parties and shit like that, and they were so bad, people would at least be like, "Oh my god, I gotta get out of this fucking
Yeah.
house."
Well, it's funny though because I was going to bring this up how we were saying that we listened to so much different styles of music and that at my work, we used to be able to play our radios really loud. I work in a factory where we build custom wood custom solid doors, and anyway, I'd be blaring my music, and it would go from, for example, Slayer. Just because I got over I don't know how many different songs on my playlist, but it'd go from Slayer into um, it wasn't the Bee Gees, but it's the DGs. You ever hear this?
What are they called?
The DGs.
No, I've never heard of that.
So they actually came out with an album. It's called the DGs, and is the whole like staying alive. The John Travolta movie.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
it? And they
Saturday
did a
Night
whole
Fever, baby.
yeah, they did a whole album but it's called the DGs, and that
Hmm.
song came on, and one of my buddies that I work with, he goes, Jesus Christ, you go from Slayer to the Bee Gees? What the fuck is this? I go, actually, you're wrong.
I
This is,
love the Bee Gees, man. Those guys were
yeah,
badass.
yeah. But I go, actually, you're wrong. This is the DGs, not the Bee Gees. And he goes, the fuck is the Bee Gees? And I said, well, it's actually Dave Grohl in the guise of the Foo Fighters formed this band called the DGs. And
Oh wow.
they actually opened, they dressed like the 70s disco style and everything. They actually opened up a couple shows before the Foo Fighter shows, and people
Oh, so
were
they
losing
opened up
their
for
foot.
themselves.
Yeah, then people are losing their fucking minds because they're like, "What the fuck is this?" Seriously, look this up. It's no
That's
shit.
that's kind of fucking genius, actually.
And it's really really good. I mean the songs and everything. I mean you were seriously thinking you're listening to the Bee Gees, but it is before Taylor Hawkins passed away and all that. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a legitimate thing. But yeah,
yeah,
and it's kind of
dude.
funny.
I can't remember what they were called, but I don't know, about a month or so ago, I was down in LA and I seen a Bee Gees tribute band. And a friend of ours was he was the promoter for it. He's like, "Yeah, I'll put you on the guest list. Come on down." I'm like, "Oh, okay, dude." They were fucking badass. They were
Yeah,
so good. I couldn't even fucking believe it. I was like, this is like one of the best tribute bands I've ever seen in my life. It was like
yeah,
seeing the Bee Gees. It was scary good.
yeah. It's crazy how I mean how some of this is becoming full circle now on with on time. I should say with people passing away, retiring, whatever it may be, or the music that we grew up listening to.
Yeah,
And this is really the only way you could kind of see a live show now with these guys. And it's pretty interesting to me anyway that if you can get it where it sounds like it or whatever, or sounds, close to it, more power to you, because people don't get to see that like you did when you were what, 5? I
yeah,
mean, I'm fucking jealous of you. You even got to see Elvis live. I mean, that's
yeah.
pretty
Not
cool.
everybody gets to say that, man.
You still have the ticket stub from that?
I don't, but check this out.
I
Uh,
seen your Facebook post.
Yeah, man.
And I know where you're gonna go. You got this
Yeah, one of my
ultimate
Facebook
ticket.
friends, he's like, obviously people know how much of an Elvis fan I am and shit.
Right.
They're like, hey, man, I know you don't really know me, but I follow your stuff, and I got something I think you would really like, and it's your birthday, and I want to send you something. Can I get your address? And so I gave him my address and did. I got back from the European thing, and boom, here it is. And I opened it up. I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
Yeah.
An actual ticket stub in plastic, so it's in mint condition,
Yeah.
certificate of authenticity that it's a real ticket and everything, man. I was just like, fuck. Yeah, so some of the,
That's a
I mean,
cool.
I collect Kiss memorabilia and Elvis,
Uh-huh.
and I've gotten so many things from friends and fans. You know, I I'm pretty transparent when it comes to like my Facebook page. I mean, people are like, "Guy's kind of a fucking dick, but he's funny as shit." But
What's
they know that my love for Kiss and my love for Elvis is absolutely true. And so I get people sending me stuff all the time. Hey, my mom died. She was a huge Elvis fan, and I got all this Elvis shit, and I just don't know what to do with it. Would you be interested? I just want to send it to you because I know how much you love. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So my house is just Kiss and Elvis everywhere. I mean, people walk in and they're like, this dude has a fucking problem.
I'm the same way, though. I mean, I've been collecting Elvis shit since I was a little kid. And but probably one of my prized possessions, and it's nothing even fucking big. You know what it is? And I don't know if I should say this or not. I may get in trouble, but the first year I went into Graceland in '94, when you go up through the basement and you're going into the jungle room, right?
Yep,
At that time, now they had to tour differently. You would go through the basement and then you'd come up through the backside into the jungle room there.
yep,
And that green shag carpet was on the walls there as you're going
yep.
up. I snagged I pulled a little piece of that carpet off, and I got it in like one of them baseball card type deals. That's probably one of my biggest. I got that in a safe deposit box. So this came from
Nice.
Graceland. I
I'm
should
gonna
probably,
fuck. Next time I go to Graceland, I'm gonna bring a scissors with me and cut myself a piece too.
but I'd say that, or I this last time I went down, I wanted to get something cool for my daughter just to remember all that by. So I got one of them gold records, that are numbered gold
Yep,
record, like platinum records or gold records. And as the first Elvis Presley record that I got, um, in the gold version of that, but I got some of that stuff as well. But um, God, there's just so much stuff. What's your prized possession of that of an Elvis?
I have two prized possessions, and one of them is that ticket stub that just came that
Yeah.
that was given to me, and another friend, Jim Johnson. He's a good buddy of mine uh, from the East Coast, and he calls me up one day. He sends me a message. He's like, "Bro, I got something I want to give you. Blah blah blah. I need your address." It So when Elvis died, he had a gun in his bedroom, and it held 7 bullets, and he acquired two of the bullets out of Elvis's gun.
No
And he
shit.
said, "Yeah, so I got one of the bullets that Elvis carried, certificate of authenticity that comes with it, and everything from the Elvis
Uh-huh.
Foundation, and so I got an actual bullet that Elvis carried, and I got an actual ticket for a show that never happened."
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool just to say you have that. I mean,
Oh
that
yeah,
them ticket stubs. I see those World Dolls. They came out in '84. I think they came out with I think there's like three or four of them World Dolls, and one of them was Aloha from Hawaii. The
yep,
American Eagle jumpsuit, and that one is really really hard to find and really mint condition. Like, and there's only like 700 of those. Um, but if you find one, I seen one online just a couple weeks ago, and I damn near bought it because it's only $500. They usually go for about $700 to $1,000. But in those, in that particular World Doll model, it has one of those ticket stuff, or one of the tickets like what you got. It comes with
wow.
that ticket. Yeah. And I think that's even why that prices are so high on that
Yeah,
particular
because I
one.
mean,
Yeah,
just those tickets alone. I mean, you look on eBay, man, they're like fucking between 250 and $500.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine though? I mean, you stop and think of ticket prices then. I mean, would that ticket say on yours? Isn't it like 15
15
bucks?
bucks.
Yeah. And you,
15 bucks to see Elvis. I think
yeah.
when I saw him, I did somewhere I had that ticket stub. And I remember it was 12 bucks. My parents paid 12 bucks to see Elvis.
Was that in Washington there then? Or
Yeah. Seattle
yeah.
Center Coliseum.
Okay. Do you remember what he wore and all that and remember all that?
I
Have you
do.
seen
He came out in a red suit, and then halfway through the show, he did an intermission, and he came back out in a blue suit.
oh really?
Hmm.
I didn't know
And
I didn't that's an interesting. I never once knew that he would change out. Did he do that quite a bit?
I only saw him once, man.
Well, I
Uh,
know, right, but I mean, I never knew that he did like an intermission and would change his outfit or anything. I didn't know that.
well, he did in Seattle. I know the Aloha Hawaii show. He just wore the
Right,
Aloha suit. The big golden eagle.
right.
Uh, he didn't do a change in that one. Uh, but yeah,
Which
there
would
was
make sense though, because there was actually three of them suits made up for that.
I know,
Yeah,
but
so that makes
he
sense of
also
what you're
did
saying. Of
three shows 3 days in a row in that Hawaii show.
yeah,
So that he did a matinee show, an evening show, matinee show, evening show, matinee show, evening show. So there's actually 6 shows, and then
yeah,
they
in three
put it all
days.
together.
And a lot of his shows were actually almost like that. You'd have a matinee show and an evening show. I mean, he that Colonel Tom Parker worked him like fucking.
Worked him like a fucking slave, man.
Yeah. I mean, there'd be no way guys would do that shit today. Can you imagine that? I mean, guys would be losing their fucking minds.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's
Well, what I'd like for my Live 85 show. I mean, the grand scheme of things is to get a showroom in Vegas and become one of the shows that people see.
yeah,
I mean, you got the Blue Man Group, you got the guys that are magicians, you got the Beatles Experience,
yeah,
you got Elvis guys, but you don't have Elvis new era or the new breath of fresh air that a Live 85 is. So
right.
my goal with the Live 85 is to get it into a fucking showroom where I'm doing 5 shows a week, Tuesday through Saturday or something like that.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
maybe on the weekends I would do a matinee show and an evening show because
right.
obviously those are the busy days.
Yeah. Should get a hold of what's his name down there at Counts. Isn't that with a
Who?
lot of them guys that what's that place there in Vegas? Isn't it Counts? That
Oh
does a
yeah,
lot of shows, like 80 bands and all that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Danny,
yeah.
Danny
It seems
Coker.
like a pretty cool. Yeah, it seems like a pretty cool place to do shows.
We played since my son's band, Sin Circus, has played Vamps 2 or 3
Yeah,
times. Metal Church has played there a few times.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it'd be kind of there. You go. There, you have an in right there.
Mm-hmm.
But well, man, I'll kind of wrap this up here. I appreciate your time and that, and if you get into this area, into Iowa and that, or Minnesota, hit me up because I'd love to come check this out, the Live
Awesome, man.
85 or even autograph. And I keep on hounding Tommy when he's going to hit the road with NYC. You may even have a touring gig there with him. That's been brought up at all, or?
Oh, it's been talked about. As a matter of fact, I just talked to Tommy earlier today. He asked me if my buddy get a hold of you. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing a thing tonight with him.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's cool, man.
Yeah. I was with me and my buddy lives south of here and we grew up together. He's the sheriff down in Wright County. And if you look on Tommy's vest, and I don't know if he's wearing it when you guys were recording or anything, but he has a leather vest and it has the Wright County Sheriff's badge on his
Yeah,
vest, and that's where that came from. But anyway, we'll three-way call with Tommy and that. And Slutenhofer will say, "Hey, tell him you got some GI Joes you found at an auction for cheap, just to get them fired up." fuck, he'll go on about a half an hour about fucking GI Joe.
Yeah. Well, next time you talk to him, ask him about that fucking RuPaul's Drag Race fucking judging.
Oh,
He'll
really?
be like, "Oh, those fuckers."
Was he a judge of it or?
No, remember I told you the story that Stet
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
told him
Okay,
that
okay, okay.
we
Yeah, oh,
weren't
okay,
gonna
okay,
make it
okay.
because
I got you, I got
we're
you.
gonna be
Yeah,
judges at RuPaul. Yeah. He's like,
yeah.
"What the
Coming
fuck?
from coming from
You guys,
Vegas.
I've already paid for this shit. Look, what the fuck? You gotta be kidding me. This is the most unprofessional shit I've ever." And he starts going off. We're just like laughing.
And, during that time, because I remember talking to him, he was just stressed out. You could tell he's just stressed out going from one spectrum to the next. And yeah, no, I'll definitely say that to him. I'll get him all worked up of giving him
Get
some
them
shit
all
about
wound
that.
up all
Yeah.
over again.
But yeah, send me that MP3, man. I'd be glad to check that out and throw that on
All
up
right.
here and get all that up. But are you doing what stuff do you got planned for autograph? What's in the books for that?
Oh, we got some dates coming up. I think when is the next one? I think it's April. I think is the next one coming up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we got a few dates coming up that are on the books right now, and obviously there'll be more coming because it's summertime. So this is when the dates all start coming in. Is right about
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just real quick, I mean, doing those autograph shows and compared to metal church shows, do you find those autograph shows being more laid back, where it's more because they pretty well fly you in for some of them, right? Like, say, for example, you're playing some of these bigger, like cruise ships or festivals or one-off weekend shows. I mean, how's that look for you? They fly you in and wine you and dine you, and then they fly you home? Is that the way that works, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, uh, autograph. The guys really work like a machine, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah,
it's tickets waiting for you at the airport. Get on a flight, you get there, you get picked up, you get brought to your hotel. They always stay in nice hotels because
yeah,
I mean, Autograph plays a lot of casinos and fairs.
yeah,
So they do theaters, casinos, fairs, uh, some bigger club venues.
yeah,
Uh, but it's always the same thing, man. I mean, again, I guaranteed that you got room, you got food allowance, you get your airlines paid, and then you do the show, and then you go home.
yeah,
And it's mostly, it's one-off kind of stuff. Sometimes we'll fly in. Like I think one of the last things I did with them is we flew into like Memphis, and of
uh-huh,
course we got to drive by Graceland and go,
right,
yeah. And we played a casino right across the border from Memphis, or right from Tennessee. I forget where it was. And then we drove like 4 hours to the next show. So sometimes we'll play like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a Friday, Saturday, and a Tuesday, and then fly back home. And I mean, everything is taken care of. I mean, where you're staying, the transportation. I don't even ask what I'm getting paid. I come back home, and a week later I get a check in the mail, and and
right,
I always like, God damn, all right.
yeah. Works out for you. I mean, it
Yeah.
amazed me. Like, I got to know the guys at Slaughter really well too, and I mean, you take that prime example. I mean, they got that system down to a fucking
Oh,
T. And
they run it like a fine-tuned engine. We do a lot
yeah,
of shows with Slaughter.
yeah, great guys, and they still sound great. I mean, still
Mhm.
great live band, and
Yep.
um, but what I'm getting to, I mean, it's all fly in, fly out. I mean, it's it'd be really the way to go because you're not fucking around with tour buses. You don't have to worry about.
Dude, it's so expensive to tour. Buses are, I mean, a bus is a thousand to $1,500 a day.
No
And if
shit.
you're only playing 5 nights a week on your tour, you're paying, if it's $1,500, you're spending $3,000 extra that week, and you're not making anything.
Yeah,
Just you pay the driver, you pay for the bus, you pay for the fuel.
yeah,
Driver of the bus gets a fucking hotel room every night. You got to pay for their Uber to and from the hotel back to the bus to drive you to the next gig. It's fucking expensive, man.
yeah. And then they're even, I think a lot of them are even union now too, where they can only drive so many hours in a day or some
Oh
fucking
yeah.
thing too.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So if
yeah,
you got a rigorous schedule, now you got to pay for two bus drivers so that one can
yeah,
sleep while the other one's driving, and then fucking when his 8 hours are up, the other one pops out of a fucking hole in the bus somewhere and drives the next 6 hours or whatever the fuck. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't see how guys are doing it, honestly.
It's tough. It is really tough. We do a lot of touring, like Metal Church. Stet has a big diesel pusher, 40-foot motor coach, like a motorhome. And that's what we've been using. We've been running around in a motorhome, pay Stet a fraction of what we would pay for a tour bus, and it works out for Stet, works out for all of us. And, you still got a coach, you got a place to go. It might not be a big 40-foot shiny tour bus, but it works. And
get you from point A to point B. And
I'd rather come home with a wad of cash in my hand from a tour than, I got to play Rockstar and I got a little bit of money left over.
Right. Yeah, nothing to show for it.
Yeah. I mean, after all, this is what I do for a job. So the end result is money in hand is what the important thing is, that, and I'm having fun, and that we can, keep putting on a great show for fans and stuff like that. When we get to the point where we can't put on a good show, then I probably ought to find something different to do.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the best of luck to you in these upcoming shows you have, and
all right, man.
Yeah, I really hope see you around up in this neck of the woods here.
Cool, man.
Over the summer,
well,
it'd be cool to.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on. I'll be like, hey, thank you very much, man.
Like I said, you need to look into doing that Elvis contest. So that I think you could. I seriously think you have a really good, legitimate shot of, and there's some big money in that too.
Yeah.
And they even give you, I think they even give you a great big custom ultimate champion belt, like a custom, like Elvis type belt and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would need that for your state. I mean, you could rock that with that Live 85,
Mm-hmm. Maybe like, this is the skinniest fucking Elvis I ever seen, man.
Well, Steve, I appreciate it, and like I said, stay in touch in that, and good chatting with you. Come on anytime if you got something you want to promote and all that. Love to have you
all
back
right, man.
on.
I'll send you the MP3 of the one and done. If you want to put that on there, that'd be great.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We got a song, the one that we've been putting out right now. It's called "Fuckmaster 5000."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about sex robots and shit like that. So,
I'm gonna.
It's the future of getting laid.
Well, yeah, through technology of
AI fuck robots.
I'm gonna call Tommy tomorrow and be like, yeah, well, Steve sent me an MP3 of your new NYC. Fuck, that sounds really good.
Yeah, see what he says, dude. Fuck with him. Yeah, we played it on the air and everything.
How the fuck did he get that? He has no.
Yeah,
motherfucker doesn't have nothing of mine. How's he?
Yeah.
I'll give this motherfucker a call right now. I need to let you go.
Absolutely do that, man. We got to fuck with him.
I definitely will. So, but thanks again, Steve. Stay in touch, and look forward to seeing you around. And best of luck to you and TCB, man.
Thank you, brother. You take it easy, man.
See you, man.
Peace out.
She'll show you a real good time. Click the mouse, straight to your house. Comes your rubber high-tech out of box. She kicks you off and lets you bang her anywhere. Microchip and silky lips. She's like an astro guy slide. She's from the future, pouring out. It looks like a hot volcano. She'll tell you money back, guaranteed. If she ever fails to please, she won't talk back. passion right there. Last night.